welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. We got a special guest in the building, Greg Hackett. And of course, when you get two Gregs in the building, you got trouble on your hands. What's going on with you, fam?
I'm chilling, man. Just getting back in from the gym. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. So you had a fight this past weekend, right? It was supposed to be against Maurice Horde, Horn rather, and that didn't end up popping off, and you had to substitute, man. Tell me a little bit about that.
I mean, he pulled out right before the fight, right before the weigh-ins. They did the best they could in finding my man Dr. Errol Spence to do an exhibition bout. So
yep.
We went in there and still put on the show, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. But you know,
So what happened with Horn, man? Why did he pull out?
He said a shoulder injury. That was the story I got.
Shoulder injury right before the weigh-in. That's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I ain't even asked no questions after I heard it. I just was like, that's crazy, but it is what it is.
Were you disappointed in the fact that you didn't get the opportunity to face him?
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to put on 10 ounces that night. You know what I mean? Really let my hands go. But I mean, I felt a little better that I was able to get in the ring and still get some action going. But I wanted to fight. Yeah,
no, I completely understand that. And I saw you guys had the exhibition. I think it was a draw, correct?
Yeah, you can't. It's really not a decision in the exhibition about anyway. So.
Yeah. You just you in there, and it is what it is. So what's next for you?
I'm actually coaching this weekend, March 30th. I mean, March? January 27th, Harris Casino. I'll be coaching.
Okay, so I didn't realize. I know you were coaching because I've seen you on YSM quite a few times. How many fighters do you currently have in your stable?
I have about 3 pros and probably like 12 amateurs.
Gotcha. And I'm pretty sure that keeps you pretty busy. Your pros are at what division?
126-pound Josephat Ortiz, he's 12-1. 130-pound Jabril Noble, he's 5-0. And Jesse Hart, 175 pounds, 68-75, 30 wins, 3 losses.
Gotcha. I've heard of Jabril Nobles. Cool. Man, I see you on YSM a lot, man, and that's actually how I ran across you. Some of the takes you've been given have been tremendous, man, and I definitely want to get you on to just kind of pick your brain about what's currently going on in the sport, considering the fact that you've been in the sport for so long. And I want to start off with one question. This is something that I'm curious to know because I know you've gone through this process. Now, I understand that you have pre-fight checkups from doctors and all that other stuff. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Errol Spence claims that he had cataract surgery. I personally believe him. But I don't know what the process is in terms of, like, I know the eye doctor is going to check your eye out. Is it possible to actually get through that exam with cataracts? Would they still allow you to go into a fight if it's a big fight? What's your thoughts on that?
Here's the thing with boxing, right? Boxing is one, but then it's not because each commission requires different medicals.
Yeah.
And then with each commission, they have their own doctors that they deal with, depending on the area, depending on the state. I mean, where they at.
Yeah.
So honestly, man, you got guys that might act like they don't see it, and then you got guys that are just okay it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got people are tempted by the smallest things. You know what I mean? So if you take care of what they need, you know what I mean, they'll act like they never saw it. You know what I mean? But the thing is, we don't know if it was before the fight or after the fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And honestly, it was a fighter, Gypsy Joe Harris, years ago. He memorized the chart, the eye chart, and he was blind in one eye. And he used to, when he covered the blind eye and they asked him which line, he had it memorized already.
Yeah.
So he worked his way around it, but that was in the 60s, 50s, 60s, things like that. Now you talking about, 2024, 2023, and guys getting over it. Nah, it's not really likely that they're getting over it. They just pretending they don't see it. You know what I mean? They letting him fight. It's a lot of money involved with these fights. You know what I mean? All we need is a doctor to say yes. So You just never know.
So your thoughts is it's a possibility. It may not be probable, but it's definitely a possibility considering the fight is so large. They might let a fight go on, turn a blind eye.
I mean, if it's a fight on the line, right? That could gross up to like $200 million, not for the fighters, but I mean entirely, just like $200 million, $300 million, or something like that, right? Because
Yeah.
if you think about the pay-per-views, the gates, and all of that, so all of that money, right? And then it's a doctor, he in the way of stopping that. Like, come on, man. His life could be threatened at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or or we could just take this 50,000. You know what I mean? Act like you don't see nothing wrong.
Exactly. That made perfect sense to me. Keeping it on Errol for right now, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Errol didn't look good against Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
A lot of people felt that he hasn't looked good in quite some time.
Yeah.
I personally saw a guy that didn't look quite right, but I also saw a guy that was just had his game plan down pat in terms of Terrence Crawford and how he approached the fight, taking away the jab from Errol Spence, basically parrying the jab and using a lot of the errors that we've seen from Errol in the ring. I was talking to Tay Jones. I don't know if you know Tay Jones, but he's in Deontay Wilder's camp, and he was telling me that there's ways that you can improve on those errors and come back and be a stronger fighter in a rematch. A lot of people don't feel that that's the case, that Errol he's just not there in terms of Terrence Crawford's league. What's your thoughts on that? Is it true that you can have a training camp and come back and fix those types of errors and be more competitive in a rematch?
You could, but the brain and the body has to be willing to accept the task that it takes to achieve those type of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everybody is patient enough to sit there and learn something new. You know what I mean? Uh, Earl Spence is from a region of fighters where strong guys come out of there. Strong, everything's strong. Strength and conditioning, power. You know what I mean? Strength, power, strength. That's what you hear most of the time about guys coming from Texas. You know what I mean? Remember that guy James Kirkland? Remember him?
Yeah.
He was a strong guy, vicious
Yeah.
guy. You know what I mean? A lot of times guys come from that area, that's their strength. Terrence Crawford coming from Omaha, Nebraska, and coming from the era he came from, you know what I mean? Because his coach is who he is, and the team is put together the way it is, he's working on different elements of actually boxing, of actual martial arts. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
fact that he was a wrestler, he can see things, and he works on things that a guy like Earl Spence may not even think about working on. You know what I mean? His Earl Spence thing is, I'm bigger than you, I'm gonna just beat you up. Terrence Crawford is like, I'm gonna find a way to beat you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So he's going to work on the things that he needs to work on to win that type of fight. Earl Spence, I think he has it in him to do it, but I don't think he will, because it's like, you know what I mean? Look where we are now. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is, you already was an Olympian. You already was a world champion. I mean, at one point they had you pound for pound guy. You know what I mean? You made a lot of money. How much more can you do? Not
Yeah.
saying it's not more you can do, but with the car crash, that took some years off of his career.
Yeah, man. So what I'm hearing from you is it's almost like that comment from Marvelous Marvin Hagler, where it's like it's hard to get out of bed when you're in silk sheets, right? And he's accomplished a lot. He's accomplished a lot, been through a lot. Might be time to just think about doing something different. If you were in his shoes, would you call it? And then we've already heard him say that he's not gonna call it a day. But if you're in his shoes, would you call it a day? And if you're not calling it a day, what's your next step? Would it be to get back in the ring with Crawford, or would it be to just move up to 54 and find another opponent that is more
I would definitely find
suitable?
another opponent, but what I would definitely do is find an addition to my team. Derek James is a great coach, no doubt about it, but he need help. He need help because Derek James only know one way. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Derek James is a great coach. Don't get it fucked up. But what I'm saying is, he know what he know. He gave all of that to Earl Spence.
Yep.
It's not too much. It's not too much else you can teach him. So You need somebody to come in and help him. I'm not suggesting cut Derrick James out. No, you bring
Yeah.
somebody else that can help him because Derrick James still know how to talk to him. He still know how to push him, but he just needs somebody else to help him work on certain things like his, working with his balance, working on his timing, working on changing speeds. You know what I mean? Working on not throwing every shot powerful. You know what I mean? Not every shot had to be a power shots. Working on setup shots, decoy shots, things like that. Um, not pulling every punch. You know what I'm saying? Not, showing that he's loading up on the punch. What you call that? I'm a little spun out coming from the gym, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah. I know what you
It's,
mean.
it's certain things that he do in the ring that he tell on himself. And a guy like
Telegraph.
yeah, he telegraphing the shots. And he tell on himself. So Terrence Crawford, a guy like him, he pick up on that. He gonna make you pay for it because he confident enough to sit there and wait for it. Now, so that's why I said I think Errol Spence should go ahead and find somebody else to fight if you're gonna continue fighting.
I like what you said there because I've said something similar in terms of adding to the team, and people get upset when I say that. I don't get why you're getting upset about that. Clearly, he needs to add to the team, and also, if it were me, I'd be starting camp a little bit earlier. And I know he feels that only 8 weeks is enough, but when you've had so much of a gap between your fights, you need to be more active, and that's just my personal opinion.
I mean, look at Terrence Crawford. He got 3 coaches,
Facts, facts. I want to
and I'm not saying
transition.
everybody need that. I'm not saying everybody need that, but
But
need it.
yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.